I moved to a new town. It was much nicer, cleaner, and a quieter town than the one I lived in before. Not the sort of town you'd expect to have things wrong with it. There was a very big public park right in the center. It housed rows upon rows of swings, slides infested with snake-like tunnels that weaved in and out and around the playground, providing a maze for children to lose themselves in their games. There was even a functioning merry-go-round, which seemed to always be slightly turning, inviting the children to hitch a ride on its platform of twirls, twists, and spins. I have to put emphasis on the fact that the town was quiet and peaceful. The town was quite a town where you could leave the house on their own, not even locking the doors, and taking a journey to the park. I had been given strict instructions by my parents that I should come home the second it started turning dark. My life was wonderful. Or so it seemed. It was Friday. I knew the day because I remember coming home with a large grin on my face. I knew that I had the luxury of non-stop playing for the next 2 whole freaking days. What I always did. It's what I always wanted to do. My school bag was on my bed and was ordered to change into their other clothing. In a matter of minutes, I was ready to descend into the world of fun. Nothing could stop me. The tunnels are my favorite. It was always so easy to get lost in them, and which it made great fun for playing hide-and-go-seek with only my 2 friends, Billy and Tom. They were both in my class, and we, like many 8-year-olds, loved the game that filled us with pure adrenaline. We were gonna play a game called Murder. I didn't expect anyone to know this game. We made it up. The rules were very similar to hide and go seek, except when someone seeking you found you, they had to, and I quote, murder you. Pretend, obviously. It was nearing winter, and I remembered it being slightly cold as I wormed my way around the tunnels, furiously trying to find the perfect hiding spot. Billy was the murderer, as you speak. Tom was hidden behind a merry-go-round, and I was alone. It must have been maybe 10 minutes, which to an 8-year-old felt like a year, when I decided to do what all kids do when they get bored. Give up. I give up, I shouted, my voice echoing through the tunnels. I'm in the tunnels, I give up. I heard a sudden shuffling on one end of the tunnel. Now I didn't know why, but I froze still. I didn't call out again. I just waited. Something wasn't right. Billy would always say something before coming in after seconds of being called out. He'd always congratulate them on being the last one found, or for cheating by hiding in an endless maze of tunnels. As I stood frozen, the shuffling grew louder and louder and louder. I could tell it was starting to get dark outside as the tunnels slowly began to lose any light in them. Slowly but surely, dropping into the darkness, I began to slowly shuffle backwards. The shuffling ahead of me grew louder and louder as if something or someone was coming my way. It was as if he was too big for the tunnel and he's trying to navigate around. Come out! It's time to come home now, said a very creepy yet young voice. It sounded like a grown man as he talks to a small child, talking in a slightly higher pitch. This was definitely wrong. I probably should have come out if the voice outside, but it wasn't. It was inside of the tunnels. Why would an adult crawl inside tunnels? As I was shuffling further and further back, the face of an old man appeared in the darkness ahead of me. Pitches of hair on his head looked defined, old. He hadn't showered in at least a fucking week. I could see what he was wearing, but I could tell it was tattered and old. He had a sharp, shaggy beard. He almost looked like an old homeless man. The second we made eye contact, he stopped, just smiling at me, revealing his filthy, underbrushed teeth that had blots of brown and black from years of smoking and some other weird film that lacked and stayed on there. I panicked. I turned around and I began shuffling on all fours as fast as I could. The shuffling behind me grew louder and louder. He was fucking chasing me. I sped through the maze and for what felt like an eternity. I only stopped when my legs refused to move anymore. I'd taken so many twists and turns, I was completely lost. I don't want to hurt you. I just want to talk. The narrow tunnel echoed. The voice echoing through the tunnels. I could tell that it was nearby. I pressed my body against the bottom of the small and narrow, and I listened. He continued to make soft, cooing noises. I don't even know fucking why, begging me to come out and to present myself to him. I lay in the tunnel for hours, no exaggeration, even after I heard him curse to himself and angrily force his way around and out of the tunnel. I continued to wait. Thoughts raced through my mind of me coming out of the tunnel, only to be met by the same smile that once greeted me. In the darkness of the tunnel, I could make out a blue flashing light outside. I heard frantic voices calling 3 names repeatedly. Billy? Tom? Michael? When I heard my name, my heart slowly begun to calm. My parents had come. I easily shuffled out of the tunnels and guided by the wet dirt scrapings along the walls of the tunnel, I was able to finally figure out where that man must have gone. Outside, there were groups of adults with concerned faces. I was greeted by police officers and cars. I recognized 2 of them, my parents. Mom, Dad! And I wailed, crying as I ran towards them. They were crying and ran towards me, lifting me up off the ground, hugging me so tightly I just felt as though I was slowly being crushed. Billy and Tom were taken that evening. They were later found hidden in a nearby skip, mutilated. They'd been brutally massacred. Their skulls had been caved in with a large iron bar. Their bodies had deep cuts everywhere. Large pieces of glass were buried in their backs. What chills me to the fucking bone is that wet dirt I saw in the tunnels. The tunnels weren't entirely dirt. It was Billy and Tom's blood. After slaughtering my 2 best friends and making eye contact with me in that tunnel, he just smiled. Because he had just won the game.